At Torre Lorenzo, our day begins with the promise of something new, the silent hum of creativity, and the vision of a brighter future. It's not just about constructing buildings. It's about embedding our DNA into every detail. The lines, the curves, the textures. No stone left unturned. This is the essence that drives us. We think like a family, unified by a shared belief in the transformative power of design and how it shapes our tomorrows. Through the years, we've engaged with countless minds, each contributing unique insights and solutions. Diverse in thinking, united in purpose. What binds us is a collective commitment to innovation and proactive problem solving. No shortcuts, no compromises. I remember our beginnings, the challenges we faced, the victories we celebrated. Every step, every achievement, a milestone in our journey. While technology evolves and methods advance, our core remains steadfast, a relentless pursuit of excellence. Our DNA is our legacy, woven into every structure, every space, shaping a sustainable future for all. We are always here, evolving and innovating. That's the heart of Torre Lorenzo. We design for tomorrow.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Ink Talks, a discussion with the experts brought to you by the Philippine Daily Inquirer's property section in partnership with leading premium property developer Torre Lorenzo Development Corp. I am Samaniego. I am the editor of the Inquirer's property section, and I will be your moderator for this morning's forum entitled Unlocking the Value of Service Residences. You know, I have been in the industry for the last decade or so, and I must say that every year it just gets better. So I think by this time, all of us are aware and we already know that real estate indeed offers an exceptional opportunity for everyone to build wealth. Whether one chooses to buy a lot, a house and lot, a townhouse, a condo, name it. Real estate allows us to benefit from long-term growth, potential rental income, and that achievement of owning a piece of property. I think more than anything else, it's actually that, the idea of having a property under your name. At the same time, real estate, often been said, is a tangible asset, a perfect hedge against inflation, offering each and every one of us both financial stability and a sense of security. Today, though, we are fortunate as we will discuss another way to generate wealth and grow our portfolio through service residences. Joining us this morning are experts who will lend their insights about the latest trends and opportunities in this segment, in light of the continuing recovery in our tourism and the hospitality sectors. But before we actually proceed with our discussion and the presentations, I would like to call on stage the man of the hour who recently celebrated their 25 years in the industry. I'd like to call on the CEO of Torre Lorenzo Development Corp, none other than Mr. Tomas Lorenzo himself.
Thank you, Tech. Nice to see you again, and good morning to everyone here. It's really such an honor to have all of you, and you've had so much time and so many opportunities to look at others, other investments, and you've come here to listen to us. So this event is part of a two-day anniversary celebration. It's Torre Lorenzo's 25th anniversary year. So those of you are wondering how long I've been here 29 years. So ibig sabihin, I am actually older than the company. And yesterday, with our partners, we celebrated, and our clients, we celebrated 25 years of partnership with our buyers and with our brokers, with our team. So right now, there's really, I guess, a need for something like this to bring people up to date with what there is in the real estate market. Marami sa inyo nagtataka, ano ba, saan ko pa pwede ilagay yung pera ko? Saan ko pa pwede malagay yung inaipon ko kung meron akong sobrang pera o kung meron akong parating na pera, at least we can help you make that decision. I always tell people, you are free to make that decision. You have to understand, though, what it takes, what you need to do to be able to make that decision. And that's why we present to you all the information that is current. And we are also here to explain to everybody what your options are. Kasi marami sa inyo, of course, you get many people, I'm sure, calling you saying, put your money here, put your money there. Yung iba nga, dati nga, people would come to me and say, anong kaibahan ninyo sa UV Express? Sabi ko, hindi kami UV Express. Okay, so maraming ganon na saan nyo lalagay yung pera. What's really important is you understand the options and you need to match your needs. For example, a person retiring who's turning 60 years old and working in Dubai has different needs from a 35-year-old BPO person. Hindi pare-pareho yan. What's important is you understand your needs right now. Thankfully, we have products for everyone, for all types of investors, whether nearing retirement, starting out in a new job, or somebody looking for to leave to the next generation. We cover all of that. And this is the first time we're partnering with Inquirer, high-tech, in this Investors Forum. I'd like to thank the PDI team who worked with us to make this possible. You know, it's really a partnership, and all partnerships begin with showing the sincerity, which I think PDI has shown that they really like our projects because kami, we show everything, our projects. We show our oldest projects. We show our newest projects. Hindi kami nahihiya sa mga nagawa na namin. Because as far as we're concerned, every project was really a project that was born out of our passion to make the best available at the time and to keep these projects alive. Wala ho kaming proyekto na iniwan. Lahat po ng natayo naming building or project, nandyan pa rin kami. And that is unique. So marami sa inyo are wondering why, bakit Torre Lorenzo, bakit hindi dito? The difference can be seen by visiting our projects. We've been around 25 years. We started with the student residence concept. And at that time, doing a premium residence did not exist. It took me 25 years to stop people from calling our buildings, can anyone guess? Dormitory. Hindi po kami dormitoryo. Yung dormitoryo, 12 isang tao nakatira dyan, tapos may isang banyo at may hawak na silang yung balde. Yan ang dormitory. We provide upscale luxury residences to students. We were the first to do it, and we're still doing it, and every building we put up is an improvement from the last. Yan ang kaibahan. Hindi po kami gaya-gaya. Kami yung ginagaya, which is fine, because we don't mind, because we are improving the lives of the Filipino. Ang maganda rin sa amin, because we started university residences, I saw the power of the family. Na mga magulang, they will spend kung ano man meron yung kaya nila para lang makaaral yung kanilang mga anak. At para makatira yung anak sa magandang condominium. Yan ang importante sa kanila, the children. Because there is an investment in the next generation, which you might not see in other countries. But in the Philippines, malakas talaga. And it's very nice to see that. So, meron din nagtatanong sa amin, bakit wala kayo dito sa ibang mga locations, yung mga lugar na marami mga condominium? Hindi po kami ganyan. We will build where there is a need. Pag may potential yung location, nandun kami, bago pa nakita ng iba. Kaya karaniwan, kami ang unang-unang pumupunta doon. Lahat sumusunod. Anong ibig sabihin nun? We think forward. It's now 2024. I am not thinking 2024. I'm thinking 2034. Ganun po ang isip namin kung saan papunta yung nangangailangan. So we see the demographic shift before other people see it. That's what's important to us. Na bago pa kailangan nyo, nandiyan na kami. Para sabay, kaya nakakamura kayo pag Torre Lorenzo po ang nabili ninyo. Dahil nandun na kami, hindi pa alam ng iba. That is our edge. Because we've been doing this for 25 years. And 25 years is a long time. It's so long, ang haba po ng display board na sa harap. Na hindi, parang, I was so surprised na nandiyan pala. Ang tagal na pala. So, ito paano, we innovate. Hindi po kami gumagaya. So, sinasabi ko, I don't copy, I adapt. I adapt what I see in other countries or what I see. Ang ginagawa lang, at saka pinaka-importante sa amin, yung aming aming property management. Kami lang po talaga, pinaka-importante sa akin ang paglinis at pag-ayos ng mga project namin. Kahit luma na yung building, mukha pa rin bago. Dahil ginagawa namin ang dapat. Linilinis namin, inaayos namin. Kaya, hindi ko talaga masabi na pinakamababa kami sa association dues. Kami po ang pinakamahal. Dahil lahat ng tinatanggap namin, linalagay po namin sa building mismo, sa paglinis at sa pag-ayos. Kitang-kita talaga. Kaya pag nakita niyo yung building namin, kung yung building namin 10 years old, pag tinapat mo yan sa 10-year-old building ng iba, kitang-kita talaga. Nasa ebidensya yung paglinis at yung pag-ayos at yung maintenance. So hindi po kami nahihiya na dumalaw kayo sa aming unang-unang proyekto, 25 years old. Wala pong magsasabi sa inyo sa iba na bumisita sa luma nilang building. Bumisita po kayo sa aming unang building, 25 years old, at sabihin niyo po sa amin kung inalagaan ba yung building o hindi. Yan po ang pangako namin. Ito pa, hindi po kayo, ang tingin namin sa inyo, hindi po buyer, kapitbahay. You are our neighbors. Dahil kami po ay meron din mga unit sa mismo mga building namin. Hindi namin iniiwan. Kung may problema yung building, kasama kami sa problema. Kaya importante yung alaga ng building. Hindi po namin binibenta ang lahat tapos nawawala. Hindi namin iniiwan. Kapit-bahay ninyo po kami. Yan ang kaibahan ng Torre Lorenzo. Dahil dyan, hindi po kami pwede magtayo ng napakaraming building kung saan-saan. Piling-pili po yung aming mga location. Kailangan magandang location, kailangan maganda yung pagtakbo, yung paglinis at yung pag-ayos. Bago pa namin tinatayo yung building, alam na namin kung paano lilinisan namin yan, kung paano yung paglinis, paano yung maintenance, alam po namin yon. That's 25 years of experience. So, without further ado, I think I spoke too much already. If you have any questions, please talk to your people assigned to you from TLDC, no? Dahil sila po, narinig na po itong speech na sinabi ko, siguro mga ilang beses na. Kung hindi pa nila memoryado to, ewan ko na. So maraming salamat.
Thank you so much, Tomas. Ako po, I can personally attest to how well Torre Lorenzo would build and manage their properties. Kasi even kami po, we personally experienced it. When we were just writing about the projects, we were somehow, hindi kami sure if everything that they promised, if everything that they said during the interview was for real. Kasi it seems that it's too good to be true. But when we became, parang nag-lease po kami for our daughter, we found out that they delivered more than what they promised. Currently po, we're leasing one unit sa 2 Torre Lorenzo. And we are just happy that we went with Torre Lorenzo. Okay? So, to start our discussion, let me call on our first speaker who will give us an overview of the real estate industry as well as the service residences segment. Joey Radovan is the country head of Jones Lang LaSalle Inc. Since he assumed this leadership role in 2022, he has been leading and managing the strategic growth of JLL's business lines covering leasing, sales and investment, advisory, valuations, property, assets and facilities management, and project development service while developing new value-added services for clients. Joey holds a Master of Science in Cities from the London School of Economics and Political Science and a Bachelor of Science degree in Commerce, major in Business Administration from University of Santo Tomas, along with certifications from prestigious institutions. Again, let us all welcome Mr. Joey Radovan. Good morning, Joey. Thank you for giving us the privilege to hear your insights in today's discussion. So, I'll leave you to the audience and thank you. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Tek. Well, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. I was telling Tomas that I was gonna say something relative to yung speech niya before I start. I know I have 10 minutes. I'll see if I can squeeze it in. But I was listening to him, and he was speaking in Tagalog. Nagtatagalog siya. And it made me think, yung presentation ko ba kailangan Tagalog? Parang ang galing na. And I've never really done a presentation in Tagalog. So I'm gonna do it in English because I don't want to experiment. Next time, I'm gonna do a presentation in Tagalog. So, good morning. Really glad to be here, guys. I'd really like to start because I have 20 slides that are all statistics. I think it's really boring, but I want to give you guys something that you can take home that's practical also. Two things. One, I have been a student of a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I follow that, and I think I know everything about debt. And I offered Kathy the next time, I'd be happy to come in and talk to you guys about it in detail, right? But that's one fact I wanted to let you guys know. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Second is one of the developers that I follow, apart from the developers here at home, is Australia's biggest property developer. I don't know if you know this guy, no? He owns Meriton Properties. You all have access to the internet, so you should research it. You know, he has developed about 78,000 apartments to date when he started the company in 1963, right? And then he has about 20 serviced apartments, roughly about 10,000 units, all for lease. And 3% of the Sydney population actually occupies those apartments. That's his market share, right? But what I like about this guy, Harry, he just turned 91 years old. And he's still at it because he's very passionate, you know, about what he does. And all he does is really build residential condos, hotels, and apartments, right? So I want you to read about him and, you know, be inspired. All right. So I've broken down my presentation into 3 bits, the residential, hospitality, and service department. So I'm going to start with residential first. So you can see that pre-pandemic, there's a lot of supply coming in, and of course we knew what happened with COVID, so a lot of slowdown. But you can see here in 2024, because we restarted, a lot of that supply is actually coming online this year, and hopefully more projects. I've put Manila City on red so you can identify because some of the newer projects are actually in that, you know, area. The existing condominium supply in Metro Manila is almost 500,000 units. And then in the future, just plus 19%, about 92,000 units. And again, very helpful to see where the supply pipeline is coming. So hopefully, those are statistics that's something you can use and compare much later. These are the range of asking prices. So you can see where the city of Manila is from 149,000 to 297,000 pesos per square. And this covers mid-end to luxury residential condominiums. And obviously, what I could say, the ridiculous bandwidth of the most expensive luxury apartments are asking 600,000 pesos. And I think there's one project in BGC that they're going to build, not talk about it, across the golf course. And when it's done, that's the only time they're going to sell, right? And I don't know if it's going to be much ridiculous than this, but that's something that's going to set the benchmark in terms of high prices, right? These are pre-selling prices, obviously not far from those ready for occupancy prices. Again, wide range, but you can see the bandwidth from, you know, as high as 600,000, closing in at 700,000, because obviously all the developers have to forecast what would be the appreciation of that project when they launch today. Right. So hospitality is something that we're really excited about. Been in the business for almost 30 years, never paid attention to the hospitality market. Now we're actually seeing a lot of acceleration. And so 2 years ago, I started paying attention to it and really trying to understand this asset class. And I think the demand fundamentals would be something that would start us off. So obviously when COVID hit, no one can move, no one was taking flights, but this is data that says this year is going to be where we would fully recover from COVID, in that we would be back 100% jet setting around, going into places and traveling. If you take a look at this slide, you could see that compared to our Southeast Asia neighbors, you have 28 million international visitors in Thailand. But for the Philippines, we only had 5.5, right? But I don't see it negatively, I see upside. Because in 2019, we already had 8.26. So that's why we feel that there's a lot of growth in hospitality that's coming. These are some of the foreigners that visited us: South Korea, USA, Japan, Australia, and China. We've already hit 2.5 million last May, and so we'll see if we can, get up to that 7.7. We think that visitors from India is an opportunity, because we always talk about US, Europeans, Chinese, but we think the Indian market is going to contribute to our success. This is the supply chart, again, 2024, where a lot of it is coming. These are the exact numbers in terms of Metro Manila rooms, 43,000, and then another 4,300 coming in the next 4 years. These are the broad ranges of room rates. Again, to as high as 27,000 to the low of 1,520, depending on what type. These are the demand outlook. As you know, corporate, there's rising costs, pandemic pressures. So this market should come back, leading to more MICE activities. So hopefully that doesn't dampen the mood. But revenge travel, you've heard about it. We like this leisure, blended, business travelers extending their stays on business trips to take vacations. So I think these are some of the themes. Last is service residence highlights, right? This sort of gives you a quick explanation. And I think we'll make this deck available for everyone, so you can check it, right, given the limited time. In terms of the supply, you could see that also 2023, 2024 surge, right? But if you take a look at the real numbers, it's actually not that much. There's only 6,000 plus that are service departments in Metro Manila. So another 1,000 that's coming through. So not big numbers. Room rates. So I'd like to bring you to this one, right? This is really something that I prepared yesterday, not from our research, to try and see how I can send the message through and give you the important stats so you can decide for yourself, where to probably invest, right? Obviously, condominiums, they're there, massive supply. I alluded to the fact that there's a lot of units. At the same time, hotels, quite young in terms of, us investing in it, whether you're a big developer or individuals. But if you compare the numbers to service departments as well, right, we're very far from saying there's an oversupply. So I think this specific product is quite interesting because there's not so much of it if you compare it to the residential condos. So I think this gives you kind of the framework that you are selling a product in service apartments that's not yet, at that stage where you could say it's saturated, at least from the statistics that we're seeing. And so where do we go from here? I think we like the idea that we're looking at different things now, not just demand, supply, price, features, because of what happened in the pandemic, now we're talking about personalization of what consumers want because of data-driven analytics. The food itself, there's now what we call culinary tourism, sustainability, vegan and plant-based, farm to table. These are new things that weren't, offered before, right? Wellness and sustainability, definitely something that became also accelerated and important during the pandemic. Mindfulness classes being offered in this, hotels or service departments and even condos. And then last but not the least is really AI, artificial intelligence. If you haven't used ChatGPT, you should. Ask it questions. What's the fate of Philippine real estate? Should I invest in service departments? All of that stuff, right? And I think that's where we're going. All these real estate investments is really going to be supported by technology, and AI, artificial intelligence, is really going to be a big part of it. But still, at the very early stages, don't believe what AI says, everything. But it's fairly accurate, actually. So with that, I am going to close. Thank you very much for having me again. Thomas, Kathy, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joey. So I certainly agree with you that among all the products in the real estate portfolio, it seems to be that the residential segment is one of the most resilient. And we should look into the hospitality sector, as there is that untapped potential wherein we can benefit if we invest in service residences. And to talk more about the latest in the hospitality sector, we have with us Mr. Robert John Horrigan, the president and lead founder of Horrigan Hospitality, and also the hospitality consultant of Torre Lorenzo. Bobby graduated from Le Roche School of Hotel Management in Switzerland and received further education at Cornell University. He was also the 17th recipient of the Mabuhay Gold Award, one of the highest honors a hotelier can receive in the Philippines, as presented by the Association of Human Resource Managers in the Hospitality Industry. Currently, Bobby is also the Vice President of the Hotel and Restaurant Association of the Philippines and the Chairman of the Tourism Industry of the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Bobby Horrigan. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Tech. Good morning, everybody.
It's always
Everyone's okay?
It's always a pleasure having you, Bobby, and I'm looking forward to those insights that you'll be sharing about the hospitality sector. So, I'll give you the stage.
Can I tell them a story? I'll tell everybody
Sure.
a story. We were judging for the Mabuhay Awards just a few months ago with Tech, and we realized, wow, 11 million people, Filipinos, are working abroad, 5.8 million in the tourism industry, and then the rest skilled workers all around the world. And we said, wala na, brain drain, right? The Filipinos, wala na, right? But we realized after judging in the Mabuhay Awards that the Filipinos, we were interviewing people from all around the Philippines. The Filipinos have the heart, they have the smile, they have the proper attitude, and that's why we're the best in the world when it comes to service, right? You agree, everybody? Filipinos. The Thais number 2 na. They're very good as well, the Thais. But they gave me 10 minutes to talk. Normally, that's just my introduction is 10 minutes. So I will try to wrap up all my slides within 10 minutes. But I just want to let everybody know that I started my career 33 years ago, and I started it in service apartments, service residences. So I know quite a thing or two, and all the hotels around the Philippines and in Manila would always say, wow, why is your occupancy so high? Why are you 80, 98% occupancy every month while we're running 50, 60%? So I know today we're going to be discussing service residences, unlocking, but the key to make money is service residences because we can run a very high occupancy. Kasi with Filipinos, when you say hotel, wow, okay yan, maganda. Suites, uy, mahal yan. And then when you say service residences, Filipinos are like, oh, hindi ba long-term yon? You can stay long? Yes, we can get long-staying guests. We can get people to come in even for the day. And you make more money in service residences than apartments and than condos and all of that, right? And the hotels. So, okay. I'd like to give a brief about tourism in the Philippines. I work with the Department of Tourism on a weekly basis. In 2019, we had 8.9 million international travelers, and we had 113 million local travelers. That's what saves our countries, the 113 million. This year, we're looking at 122 million local domestic, tourism. And then, for international, we're looking at about 6 to 9. But our key for tourism in the Philippines is the airports. Because when the international airports open, it's in my slides, the Bulacan Airport can handle 100 million travelers. Same as like Thailand, they just opened in Bangkok, they just opened their second airport. So we can do 100 million, and when Sangli opens, another 30 million travelers. I will tell you, I've met a lot of foreigners in the tourism space, and you know what they said? Bobby, when that happens in 2027 and 2028, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. All these condos will be sold, business, all the Chinese traveling, Indians, everybody traveling. All of these condos will be sold immediately. So it is really a game changer for our country. It will be good because our GDP was 9% in 2019. And with tourism, we want to be like Thailand and bring it up to 20%. Just to give you about Thailand and the Philippines. Thailand has 7,800 registered hotels by the Department of Tourism. 7,800. We have 2,282. We're only 1/4 of Thailand. What does that mean? We can open so many more hotels. We can open, literally, everyone's excited in the Philippines because we're opening 97 more hotels. 97 hotels is nothing. We can open at least 1,000 more. So let me go through my slides very quickly. I'll give you a snapshot of the market updates of what's going on here in this country. Okay. Do you see this slide? Look at this slide. Philippines and then Thailand. What do you see? We have a higher and a consistent GDP, right? 6.5%. What does this mean? Philippines and Thailand. I'll go to my next slide so that you know. Why is Philippines up there? Why is India, Philippines, Indonesia, and China up there? In the next 10, 20 years, the Philippines is going to be, the trajectory is going to be so high. Why? We have people, yes? We have 100, it was already 117, it's already 120 million Filipinos are around. So the Philippines, we have people to bring this for tourism to the next level. Okay? Like what I mentioned, we have 97 hotels opening by 2029. Trust me, all of these groups, all of these international groups and local groups, they're going to realize that when the Bulacan Airport opens, they're going to need more and more hotels. That's why if you're buying service residences right now, buy it now. Kasi in 3 years, 5 years, ubus lahat yan. Okay? 97 hotels. I'll show you the brands. Okay, Metro Manila, 34 properties. Cebu, 32. Clark, 8. Davao, 7. What is 7? That's nothing. If you go to Davao, there are only like 5 nice hotels in Davao. And the occupancies are all 85, 100%, almost every day. So, these are the international brands that are coming in. Marriott, Ascot, Red Planet, Banyan Tree. If you look at the Ascot, they're opening so many properties, 15 properties. And their properties are all service residences. So it just shows you that they realize service residence is key. These are the local groups, Mega World, Chroma, Hotel 101, and Hotel 101 is even going abroad. Okay, Chroma, Hotel 101, Robinson's Group, Ayala Land, Okay. Okay, now these are the completed airports. Completed airports, Clark, Bicol. Has everybody been to Cebu? How beautiful the new terminals are, and even in Clark, beautiful terminals. But look at this slide. Opening projects, okay, Iloilo, Bacolod, Bohol, Davao International, planned upgrades of airports, Puerto Princesa, Busuanga, Dumaguete, Siargao. These are game changers for our country, these new airports. And then here, this is what I was talking about. These two airports are really going to bring the Philippines to the next level when it comes to tourism. Okay? That's opening very, very soon. Okay. If you drive up to Tuguegarao, if you drive up to Isabela, you go up to Pangasinan right now, all the way to Vigan, this airport is going to be, these highways are going to be the expressway. The T-Plex is going to go all the way to the top, to Pangasinan. So that's a game changer for our country, for the north, and then for the South Ren, all the way to Bicol. The subway system, LRT, the Pasig River system, the North-South commuter railway, that's all happening. Okay. It's, in our industry, in the tourism industry, it's all about location, location, location. And in Manila, these hotels and service residences will be all filled when the new airport comes. For Davao, we're very, very bullish on Davao because that's the next big thing. I remember in about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, the U.S. State Department dropped the travel advisory. The travel advisory to Davao, all the Americans can start to travel to Davao, which is very, very good. And that's good for Davao. And then this Malate, the Malate area, which is close by from here. You've seen all the reclamation. The reclamation area is really going to be the next Makati, the next BGC for this area. So Malate will be happening in this coming years when that is completed. Okay? So this is for technology, big data, and all of this artificial intelligence, smart hotels. So everything is changing, and it's being technology is being used in our industry. The design as well has been changing. So Secretary Cristina Frasco has been talking about sustainable tourism, talking about technology, skills development, infrastructure. Actually, they have meetings on a monthly basis talking about infrastructure. And that's one of the only things that's really missing in our country to progress. We have the people, right? We have the beaches, we have the food, we have all of this. But the only thing is really infrastructure. And I'm so happy that it's being done, it's being addressed right now, all the infrastructures. Airline passenger volume, 78% from 2022 to 2023, even more for 2024. If you look at PAL said a week ago that they're going to do a wet lease for 35 new aircrafts. What is it telling you? If you fly to Davao, actually going to Davao, it'll even cost you more than going to Bangkok. Or if you go to Boracay, if you're booking last minute, it'll cost you so much. It shows you that the volume is there. We need more flights, we need more airplanes. So when international airport opens, game changer. Okay, these are the advantages. The advantages of service residences is it's more like you have space and comfort, cost effectiveness. It's more like a home. For service apartments, service residences, you have the washing machine and dryer, right? You have your living room, you have a little kitchenette. So it's more like a home, and people feel better staying there. So even for corporate, people want to just stay in a service residences rather than in a hotel. Because a hotel, wala. It's just the room and that's it. But with service residences, it's parang their office, their home, it's everything. all combined. And it's very family friendly. There's privacy. I talked about corporate benefits of a service residences. Personalized service, the community and social life. Okay. So anyway, I thank you, Mr. Lorenzo and Ms. Catico for inviting me to talk. I just want to mention that I had the privilege of being with Mr. Lorenzo in his properties. And I would see him personally look at each building, do walkthroughs every day, and it's for him that I see, it's all about maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. I have a lot of clients that own buildings, hotels, and apartments, condos, but iba sila eh. They look at micro lang, they look at macro lang, they don't look at the details. And so for Mr. Lorenzo and all his projects, it's really all about maintenance and making sure that the building is good for the next 25 years. And so I commend Lorenzo Development and the management of Lorenzo for maintaining all of their properties. So that's about it. I think we're going to do a get-together with Tex, and we're going to discuss service residences. So thank you very much. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Bobby. And I certainly agree with you. With the proper infrastructure in the pipeline, I think there is so much potential that we can gain from the hospitality sector. And I think the service residences are in a very good position right now. And it's really gonna benefit from all the planned infrastructure developments of the Philippines. Okay, so let us now hear from our last speaker, who will be sharing with us his insights about how investing in real estate can actually lead to comfort and growth. Our next speaker actually is the VP and Head of Business Development and Market Education Departments of First Metro Securities Brokerage Corp, Mr. Andoy Beltran. He has close to 2 decades of experience as an entrepreneur, a real estate investor, a stockbroker, a financial literacy advocate, and a public speaker. So I'd like to call on stage a very good friend of mine, Mr. Andoy Beltran.
There you go. Thank you, Tech.
It's always a pleasure having you, Andoy.
Absolutely.
So I'll let you do your presentation and we'll talk more later.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat. Of course, thank you to my Inquirer family for having me, and of course, congratulations to our friends from Torre Lorenzo for celebrating 25 years of providing Filipinos with a lot of opportunities, not just for shelter, not just for protection, but also for investments. And that's pretty much what I'm going to talk about over the next 10 minutes. No? We're all given 10 minutes. No? So again, my name is Andoy. I wear a lot of hats. I write for Inquirer. I do several businesses on the side, but my day job is I'm a stockbroker / economist for First Metro Securities Brokerage Corporation. This is the stock brokerage arm of Metro Bank. I sit at the board of directors of Metro Bank's financial education team. I do consultancy work for a number of LGUs, Pasig and Quezon City, among others. But essentially, at the core of it all is really my love and my passion for financial literacy. And that's why, again, I'm super happy to be given the opportunity to do the things that I love. And again, thank you for the opportunity, Torre Lorenzo and Inquirer. Now, as far as evolution goes, as far as improvement, as far as enhancement go, I think that was something I was able to surmise, especially when I was listening to Tomas's opening remarks kanina. No? At the core of it all is really not just making money out of your operations. At the core of it all should really be concern for others, concern for clients, and really partnering with them. That's why what struck me there was you guys don't actually look at your clients as unit owners, You don't treat them as clients. You treat them as partners. You treat them as neighbors. And again, that's also what we do. With First Metro Sec, we've been doing things like this for Filipinos both here and abroad, and that's pretty much the reason why we've also been able to receive both local and international awards, because of the strength, not just of our products and services, but also because of market education programs like this. All right? My typical day is pretty much like this. I jump from office to office, campus to campus. In fact, I was talking to my wife early this morning because I was complaining. Because yesterday, wag nyo na lang sabihin, but yesterday, I was actually at a whole day conference. And unfortunately, nasira yung aircon doon sa PUP, Polytechnic University of the Philippines. And I was complaining kasi I wasn't feeling too good. O sabi ko, parang magkakasakit ako. And at the same time, parang pinagpapawisan pa ako dun sa venue. And I was talking to my wife kanina because my eldest son is actually in the hospital. Nothing serious though, but what I'm really trying to say here is what a difference a day can make. Kahapon I was complaining about heat, and ngayon I was complaining about super lamig dito sa Lepav. No? But again, this is what I do. I jump from office to office, campus to campus, island to island, and sometimes even country to country, not just representing Metro Bank, not just representing First Metro Sec, but representing the Philippines to sell the Philippines as an investment haven, as an investment opportunity, not just for OFWs, not just for Filipinos, but also to foreigners. All right? So this is what I live for. This is what I do. During the height of the pandemic, of course, Bobby, Joey, they were able to tell you things about what happened and what we see happening during the pandemic right now and perhaps 2, 3, 5 years from now. During the height of the pandemic, of course, we all had to adjust. And that's what we've done. First Metro Sec, of course, with Inquirer as well. So I took advantage of opportunities, one webinar at a time, one TV interview at a time, one radio guesting at a time. And again, that pretty much led me to where I am right now. So today, over the next 8 minutes or so, I'm going to guide you guys through residences and returns. Okay? A lot of times, pag iniisip natin, pag nasagi sa pandinig natin yung salitang investments, tayong mga Pilipino, we're very quick to shy away from investments, because a lot of times we think na ang investing, it requires a lot of money. A lot of times we think that investing, especially mga kliyente nyo, in order for you to convince them to at least consider, a lot of times they think that in order for them to invest, they're going to have to put up a huge amount of money. Maybe some 10, 20, 30 years ago, maybe that's correct. That's why some 10, 20, 30 years ago, the rich are the only ones getting richer. Because some 10, 20, 30 years ago, the rich are the only ones who can afford to invest. But again, that's a thing of the past. We're going to talk about a smart investor's guide to comfort and growth. And let's begin with our day-to-day lives. Okay? Our day-to-day lives, whether you admit it or not, whether you feel it or not, nagmamadali tayo. You ask yourselves, a lot of times nagmamadali tayo. Kaya nga nauso yung salitang multitasking. Hindi na natin i-enjoy yung coffee. In fact, before, if you're going to brew your coffee, it's just going to take you about 5-7 minutes. Pero ngayon, because we don't have time, ang ginagawa natin 3-in-1. Because we don't have time, nagda-drive-through tayo. Because we don't have time, you're actually taking your coffee while you're driving. Because we don't have time, you're actually reading your emails while you're seated comfortably sa Grab car, sa Uber, while your driver's driving for you to your next destination. Again, simply because we're always in a rush. All right? So what's behind multitasking? We're trying to multitask because we want to stay productive. We're trying to multitask because you want to finish 2 tasks at once. But if you're going to ask me, multitasking is actually a misnomer. because you can't actually do two things at the same time. If you can, posibleng yung results would not be as efficient, would not be as satisfactory, because you, again, are always in a rush. So what we're trying to say here is, minsan, there are times, there are tasks na pwede nating i-outsource. There are tasks na mas maganda na ipaubaya natin sa ibang tao, mas maganda na ipaubaya natin sa ibang mga kumpanya na merong expertise, merong time, at merong patience for them to do those things. And again, that's what's good about what we've heard from Joey, what we've heard from Bobby. Pinakita nila that the IT BPO sector, yung tinatawag natin na call center industry, is actually at the forefront. It's actually at the forefront. It's contributing heavily to our dollar input. It's contributing heavily to the real estate industry. But what we're really trying to say here is, hindi lang naman confined sa IT BPM sector ang outsourcing. The serviced residences, the opportunity you guys are giving to your clients, to your potential clients, it's actually a part of this outsourcing industry, if you will. From an investment standpoint, ganun din pagdating sa pooled funds, mutual funds, unit investment trust funds. Because let's face it, we're not professional property managers. We're not professional investors. We have day jobs. You're supposed to do something else. And a lot of times you're supposed to be a spouse. You're supposed to be a husband. You're supposed to be a wife. You want to be a present dad. But in order for you to do that, you need time. What we're really trying to say here is, serviced residences, pooled funds, they give you the opportunity to make money, to do what you love to do, to be comfortable, to get a considerable amount of returns without having to rush from point A to point B, without having to rush doing things. And here are a few reasons why I think this is going to work. Why I think you need to consider this, and why I think you need to use these conversation points the next time you meet your clients. Number one, of course, nasabi na ni Joey, nasabi na ni Bobby, it's all about convenience. When you talk about investing in serviced residences, you pretty much outsource the logistics to them. You pretty much outsource everything non-business related. You pretty much outsource every single thing that you need so that you can focus on your next meeting, so that you can prepare for your presentation, or so that you can enjoy the reason why you're on a vacation for. Ganon din pagdating sa pooled funds. Mutual funds, unit investment trust funds, hindi tayo expert sa pagpili ng stocks. Hindi tayo expert sa pagpili ng investment vehicles. So we might as well outsource to those who know the market very well. Ganon din when it comes to affordability. Sabi ko nga kanina, you don't need a lot of money just for you to be able to start investing. And both Joey and Bobby were able to tell you guys, minsan, kailangan natin i-consider yung pag-utang. Because not all utangs are created equal. In fact, bonds are actually utang ng gobyerno sa atin. Ganon din when it comes to trying to leverage more pagdating sa pera natin. Affordability, when you talk about serviced residences, it's much more economical, especially comparing it to a long-term hotel stay. You talk about investment funds, pooled funds, it's a cost-effective hack to diversify your investments. One payday, you're buying stocks. The next payday, you're buying bonds. The next payday, you're buying bonds and stocks in one fund. And those are possibilities brought about by, again, investing in UITFs and mutual funds. You talk about the flexibility brought about, being given to you by serviced residences. Flexibility in terms of tweaking, flexibility in terms of enhancing, flexibility in terms of the length of stay. Halimbawa, may kailangan kang i-extend. Halimbawa, you need to cut your business trip short. Those are things possible with serviced residences. Ganun din when it comes to pooled funds and investment funds. No? When you talk about trying to tweak your investment strategy from conservative to aggressive to conservative, these are things that you can also do with mutual funds and unit investment trust funds. So again, very important, especially at this day and age, yung flexibility. Importante that there are companies out there are investment vehicles out there are opportunities out there which will provide you flexibility. All right? Talk about value, kanina napag-usapan na natin to many times over. We talk about value, you get all-inclusive services, but a lot of times, when you get all-inclusive services, they come at a cost. With the service residences, it's not the case. You talk about all-inclusive services, you get luxurious amenities at a reasonable cost. Again, you need to pay for something. You need to pay for convenience. You need to pay because you're outsourcing several services to them so you can do what you're supposed to do. Ganun din when it comes to pooled funds, you get to maximize your investment returns with very minimal capital. Again, back in the day, for you to start investing in the capital markets, you need $500,000 pesos, and I'm not exaggerating. So it wouldn't make sense for me, especially yesterday, I was talking to students, it wouldn't make sense for me to teach students how to invest, and at the end of the talk, I'm going to tell them, open your account, you just need $500,000 pesos to get started. Right now, for as little as 10, 5, even sometimes 1,000 pesos, you guys can get started. So I'm telling you guys, again, when you talk about the opportunity to make millions, the opportunity to earn millions, you don't need to spend a lot of money. You don't need millions to make millions, all right? Now, as I wrap up, let's try to evaluate. How do we evaluate? How do I understand, Andoy, na ito ba yung tamang choice ko for a serviced residences? Ito ba yung tamang choice ko for an investment vehicle? Well, let's talk about serviced residence first. Again, they were, the first couple of speakers, like Joey and Bobby, they were able to talk about the importance of location. Location, and more importantly, amenities. Yun yung dahilan ba't ka nag-outsource, di ba? Location and amenities. Of course, the historical performance. You guys won't last 25 years if wala kayong stability, hindi kayo stable, if hindi kayo credible. So that's one thing that you can do to convince people, to convince potential clients to go with you guys because you have historical performance to brag about. You need to talk about the management team. And your management team, they're very hands-on. And to most Filipinos, that's actually the most important thing. All right? And you need to talk about fees, you need to talk about the development plan. Ano yung gusto yung mangyari from here on out? Tomas was able to talk about, it's 2024, but you guys are looking forward to 2034. And those are things that you also need to communicate to your potential clients. No? You talk about pooled funds, ganun din, you need coverage. Do I get an opportunity to invest outside the Philippines? Do I get the opportunity to diversify my portfolio to Singapore, Japan? Can I invest in NVIDIA? Can I get tech stocks from you guys? Coverage. Talk about, again, historical performance, management team, fees, and development plan. So kung makikita natin, ang daming commonalities, ang daming similarities, no? And what's good about this is both Torre Lorenzo, First Metro Sec, we provide Filipinos with the opportunity for you guys to make the most out of your money. All right? With First Metro Sec, we provide you the opportunity to invest in every single listed stocks, mutual funds, unit investment trust funds, ETF, even bonds, corporate and government bonds. Just last month, we were able to help Maynilad launch their blue bonds, and then EDC, Energy Development Corp, launched their green bonds naman, no? And of course, even real estate investment trust. Who knows? Maybe a few years from now, maybe you guys will go IPO and offer your developments to the Filipino public by way of Torre Lorenzo Real Estate Investment Trust. Who knows? All right? So there you have it. Again, just a quick recap in evaluating the commonalities, the similarities between serviced residences, pooled funds, UITFs, and mutual funds. They both offer convenience. And when you talk about being able to make sound financial decisions, you can never go wrong. Both serviced residences and pooled funds, They stand out as practical, efficient, and profitable investment choices. They both simplify complexities in our day-to-day lives and allows you and me to enjoy the best of both worlds. So you don't need to multitask, you don't need to rush, you can be, the best present father, the best husband, the best wife. So you get to enjoy the more important things in life. So there you have it. On behalf of Team First Metro Second Inquirer, this has been Andoy Beltran with Residence and Returns, a smart investor's guide to comfort and growth. There you have it. Thank you, Tech.
Thank you so much, Andoy. Another insightful discussion from you. So what you actually saw on screen was one of the first projects of Torre Lorenzo as a premium university residence, okay? But they now are also focusing their expertise in service residences, which is currently located in Malate, Manila, the Suites at Malate, Manila, and another one, Dusit Tani Residences in Davao, and another one coming up also in Davao City. So again, before we continue, we'll take a quick break so you can all stretch your legs, prepare your questions for an insightful discussion, and as you do, you might want to take time to watch these videos. I'll see you in a bit. Thank you so much.
The future? I can't help thinking about it. But the journey to my future begins with a single step. I need a place where I can cocoon comfortably. Where I can regenerate after a long day. Push play and rock the day away. I need space to plan the next step of my journey towards the future.
I am filled with excitement. I see possibilities for me and my career. My personal space becomes a safe space for me to keep myself sharp and focused. Ready to take on the challenges of my journey.
Each step I take opens more doors of opportunities and possibilities. When I hit setbacks along the way, I know that there's a safe space in Torre Lorenzo that I can go home to regroup, to recharge, so that I emerge a better person.
The future? I'm living it. And each day allows me to set new goals for yet another tomorrow. Another future.
Torre Lorenzo has been with me throughout my journey. Anticipating my every need, providing venues to celebrate my life's defining moments, allowing me freedom with mindful investment options.
Let Torre Lorenzo be part of your own journey.
Welcome back again, everyone. May I please ask our guests to kindly settle down as we are about to proceed with our Q&A session. And I'd like to call back again, everyone, and welcome on stage Bobby Horrigan, Joey Radovan, and Mr. Andoy Beltran. To all our guests, I'd like I encourage you to actually take this opportunity to ask your questions and inquire everything that you need to know about property investment, specifically about service residences. Thank you again for saying yes to our invitation and for being a part of this forum. So I think I'll throw in the first question, and I'd like to address this to Joey. Joey, in your presentation, you said that the residential sector is still in a very good position right now. But what can we expect from the industry in the next 5 years? Is the Philippines in a good position? And how do we rank globally in terms of investment climate?
Hirap nung tanong mo, Tek. I'll try to answer it truthfully.
Okay.
So, you know, I've been in commercial real estate for almost 30 years, meaning I work with clients that need office spaces, retail, industrial, right? But personally, I've never invested in those assets, to be truthful. All my investments are actually in residential. Condos, residential lots, homes. And it's because I decided early on that owning an office building isn't for me, or owning an industrial property. So I think from a personal perspective, I could tell you that residential investment is not going to disappear. It's always going to be there. It's just that it has a lot of different sub-asset classes that you need to understand, right? Whether you're investing in a subdivision, a home, and a home can be high-end, mid-end, low-end housing, right? And now you're going into high-rises that are condominiums, mixed-use hotels, service apartments, condo hotels, etc. So I think it's just really about understanding those basics, and then understanding also what kind of capital you're using, what kind of returns. Because obviously, you can't compare us to Japan. Japan's interest rate is almost negative. It's free money, right? Versus in the Philippines, where unfortunately still what is labeled as third world compared to core markets like Hong Kong, Singapore, whether that's New York or London. So I suggest that you understand the local fundamentals of the Philippines, and then, you know, decide for yourself if you're gonna go in, right? Because different returns are required by people plunking in capital, where you're sourcing it. Like what I told you, right? I am a fan of debt. And so that's why I don't want to overcomplicate my answer, but I think having been in the industry for almost 30 years and 3 downturns, real estate is cyclical. So don't expect that when you invest today, it will keep going up forever. It doesn't happen, right? It has dips, peaks, and valleys, and you have to be prepared. When things are always good, it's easy. You just leave it alone. But once it goes down, that's where you have to be very educated, maneuvering down markets.
I certainly agree with you, Joey. No? I think among the investments available in the market right now, real estate remains to be the most resilient, given the number of crises that we've been through, political upheavals, but it remains to be the most resilient. But just a follow-up for Andoy, do you think the Philippines now is in a very good position, and would it be wise for investors to actually bet on Philippine real estate?
All right. Let me answer that from a demand-supply standpoint. No? Again, both Joey and Bobby were able to express solidly kanina the importance of course, you talk about real estate, you talk about real estate, you talk about vacant lots, diba? The problem is, from a demand standpoint, Filipinos will always have demand for real estate. Whether from a residential standpoint, institutional standpoint, may demand. There will always be demand. The problem is supply, and if it's something that will coincide with the requirements. No? The reason why nagkakaroon ng what you call this, reclamation is because the available lot is not enough for the development. So again, from that standpoint, makikita mo na kulang ang supply ng real estate sa atin, but demand will always be there, and they're willing willing to go the extra mile. They're willing to pay for a good considerable amount of money just for them to get through dun sa mga reclamation projects nila, because they are very confident that people will still flock their development. So again, from that standpoint alone, again, so as not to overcomplicate the answer, let me answer that from a demand standpoint. Demand will always be there. You have graduating students, dreaming of providing a first home for their families, diba? And we're actually competing against them. They're competing against us. But the more important thing there is for us to get there. Importante yung mga ganitong for them to be able to understand what it takes for them to save, to invest. Being a fan of debt, how do you make the most out of your money by borrowing, parang ganon. So again, demand. I'm looking at it from a demand standpoint.
Again, the key right here, I think, is understanding the different assets or the different investment opportunities that's currently available in the market. I'd like to do a follow-up on Bobby. Given that service residences is an entirely new class asset for many Filipino investors, because we're so used to investing in condominiums, residential lots, house and lots, and even townhouses. But service residences is an entirely, I think, relatively new class asset here in the Philippines. What would make a good case for someone to actually invest instead in a service residence?
What is nice is we've gone through COVID and we realize that service residences has a higher occupancy during bad time. Imagine bad time, we did so well. Service residences did so well. They're running 80 to 90% occupancy. So as an investor, if you're an investor, are you going to invest in an apartment, a condo hotel? Because that's how it started. People started investing in a regular apartment, in condo hotels, or do you invest in service residences? But if you invest in service residences and you get a higher occupancy of 80, 90%, syempre, you get better returns. And it's proven because in COVID, did very, very well.
Just a follow-up, while you've already touched on this already, can you further expound what makes a service residence different from the other class assets, like from a condotel?
Okay. Service residences is like your workplace, it's like your home. You can stay there 30 days and not get bored. You go to a regular hotel room, after 1 day, 2 days, that's it. Because it's not geared to be like a home. But a service residence says you can do your laundry, you can do your meetings, it's more spacious, diba? You can dine, you can invite friends over, so it's like your home. So that's why people always book service residences kasi you can get long-staying guests rather than your transient one night and all that. So what's nice with service residences, you can do 30 days, 1 year, or you can even get overnight a guest. And then when guests come in and check in, they'll be like, wow, ang ganda nito. This has all the facilities. I can even cook. I can go down to the market, to the supermarket. I can buy food. I can cook. This is a bonus. Hindi lang hotel room na maliit and no facilities.
I guess that's another advantage of investing in service residences, because you see you're already somewhat guaranteed of good returns, because you will always have, especially with the influx of tourists now coming here in the Philippines, and also add to that, there's that potential of growth in the hospitality sector, and many are actually putting their interest in renting service apartments. And from the point of view of any renter, it's more homey. It presents that homey vibe. So, in line with yes.
Can I just add
Sure, Joey.
another, maybe, I'm trying to simplify it. So, when you're investing in a condo, you're investing for cash flow and capital value appreciation.
Yes.
Right? And then with a lot, because there's no income, it's just capital value appreciation. Hotels and service residences, it's also, capital value appreciation and income. But yung service residences kasi, compared to a condo, when you rent your condo, it's long-term. It's like 1 year. And then you can decide after if that tenant renews. But for service residences, it's a week, it could be a year, it could be a month. And then you're not bothered by any upkeep if your tenant leaves. In fact, you're the owner, but you can also be the occupier. If you decide to stay there on a weekend because you want to enjoy the amenities, then once that tenant leaves, you can immediately walk in there without repairing or bothering about the upkeep. Just be there for the weekend. With condos, after a tenant leaves after 1 year, there's some repairs that you need to do. So you're doing that yourself, or your wife or husband or your friend.
Can I add, Tech? Because if you buy a service residence, for example, and you put it in the pool, diba? You make the management run it, but then they give you, sabi mo, 30 days, 45 days. So best of both worlds. You get to rent your condo out. You're making money from it, and then you have 30, 45 days to stay in it whenever you want to stay in it. So it's a fantastic investment opportunity.
But as I would always say, not all class assets are created equal. That's why I always tell po those many investors to carefully study the different assets available in the market right now. Because what you're actually hearing are all the good points of investing a service residence. Totoo po yun. You will earn from it. You will have the luxury to actually enjoy it for yourself. But the key is learn how to choose properly, study your options well, and go for a trusted developer. Now, moving forward, I'd like to open the floor to our audience. Anyone who wants to ask?
There was one person, there was bankers that were asking me a question, Tech. They were, right?
I'll get back on that. I just have to. Yes, ma'am. Kindly state your name and.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Mr. Lawrence D. I'm an investor on both financial and real estate properties now. So I have questions for all three of you, one question each. First question would go to Andoy Beltran, because let's say if we have a net worth of X amount, what would be the ideal portfolio allocation between financial, fixed income, or all those that you mentioned, versus real estate? What would be the best portfolio mix? And then, if you're earning, let's say today's rates is about 5 to 6% return on investment for financial assets on fixed income or time deposits, which gives also quarterly or monthly payout, what should be the ROI for a real estate investment? Because you'll have to add in some headaches now, which the service residents would solve, but in the traditional kind, you'll have to put out an ad or get the services of an agent to get your place leased out, and the other expenses, association dues, etc. So what should the ROI of investing in real estate be compared to just investing on a plain financial instrument where you practically don't have to do anything? You just wait for the yields to come in through interest. So, of course, the other side of the ROI is based on rental yield plus appreciation yield. So that's the first question for Andoy. After that, the second question to Joey would be, based on your portfolio of real estate, you mentioned about residential, but what would be an ideal mix of residential, commercial, office, etc., etc.? And finally, the last question for Robert would be, what kind of an ROI would I get by investing in the service apartment or residence versus doing it myself now? I understand usually, if it's a service apartment, usually the yield should be higher if you can get that 80% occupancy. So let's start with Andoy.
Thank you, sir. If I remember correctly, the question assigned to me, no, the first part was, what's the ideal portfolio mix for your traditional, traditional type of investment versus vis-a-vis real estate? Well, as Tech put it perfectly, there's really no such thing as a ready-made portfolio mix. Eh. What we normally do, especially ito past life ko, I saw PJ Garcia in the audience. He used to be my former boss when I was still with BPI Asset Management and Trust Group. And this is what we do day in, day out. We meet with the clients so that we understand their requirements. We meet with the clients so that we understand where they see themselves, where they see their business 5-10 years from now. And that's where we come in. Our value comes in with our suggestions, with our recommendations. If you want to go more aggressive, if you want to go a little conservative because you're about to retire, you'd like to liquidate. No, it really depends on the profile. It depends on the risk appetite. It depends on the investment vehicles that we're talking about. No, but while there's no such thing as a ready-made, one-size-fits-all approach to investing, what's really important there is it something that you can do? Is it something that you can manage? Is it something that you have time for day in, day out? And I guess that's the whole, at the core of it all, that's the whole idea behind the forum, is that you understand, is it something for me? Is this type of investment vehicle something for me because I don't have time? I can put 100% time and attention with this endeavor. Or if you don't have the expertise to monitor, if you don't have the expertise to manage, if you don't have the expertise to understand the ins and outs, repairs, maintenance, whatnot, I think that's the whole idea behind what I'm talking about, outsourcing. You can always invest in traditional facilities. You can always invest in real estate without the hassles of repairs and maintenance, dealing with clients, dealing with tenants, dealing with the stock market, and it's the more practical approach, I think. No, doing it, outsourcing, and trusting your investments to people who know the market, people who've been in the business for 25 years. So that's what we do. No, parang again, it involves more than just a two-way conversation. We sit down with the client, understand what ticks them, understand the sensitivities, understand your fears, so that we get to craft a perfectly designed, customized, personalized plan of attack. So I do hope I was able to make sense, sir.
I guess, sir, if I may just add, at the end of the day, it really all depends on the goals that you have and on the level of understanding you have of a particular investment asset. So thank you so much for that, Andoy.
Just a moment. The ROI, if you're getting a traditional unit and having it rented out, should it be 10% ROI because you're going to have to do some work on it?
All right.
Versus the 6%
Sure.
Time deposit or fixed income.
Copy.
Sir, let me answer that. So numbers, right? Return on investments. I'm actually borrowing today at 7%. Right? Still borrowing at 7%. And some of my friends think I'm crazy because, yeah, if they look at loans before the pandemic, it's below 5%. Why am I doing that? Right? Because I understand what I'm getting into relative to numbers. Right? And also that my model is really financing my acquisition using debt. Because if I had the cash, great, right? Maybe I have the cash, but I don't want to use my own money because I am in the other people's money model, right? And so a number is just a number relative to your risk appetite, your cash position, how you tolerate debt, diba? Because it's just a number. There is no book that you can go and buy on real estate investments that says 12% is the best return. So you really have to engage with your investment advisor and understand how much risk appetite you want to take and how much of your own money you want to invest in.
Thank you.
Can I add for me as an operator? So the person purchases the service residences. What's the difference between doing it yourself? One is no headache. Number two, from my experience, you make about 20-25% more than doing it yourself, right? And then, if you have an international brand, sabi mo, the developer has an international brand on it, the appreciation of your condo unit is so much higher. Like if it's just a regular condo in the Eastwood, for example, you're making 4%. But this one, with an international brand, you can easily make 5 to 10%. Plus, yung 30 days na sinasabi ko, you have 30 days in a form of GCs. You can give it to family members. Magkano yun? 4,000 or 5,000 per night yon. So that's an additional value. Thank you.
Thank you. Second question. Have we answered your question, sir?
Where to invest question?
The portfolio, why you mentioned you just bought real residential.
The mix of
you didn't have some diversification of commercial or office or et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, sir. So my day job is actually working with a lot of investors and tenants on the office side, on the industrial side, right? And I mentioned that personally, I like to invest in residential because it's easier. When you deal with office, you're dealing with a Fortune 500 company that has a lot of demands. If you're not up for that, then you shouldn't be investing in office, right? Because there's a lot of governance and compliance. So I speak to a lot of investors in office, but personally, I wouldn't advise myself to invest in office. I'd rather build a 6-story apartment building or a condominium, because also during down markets, it's easier to exit because it's a number of units versus an entire building that JP Morgan occupies in BGC. If they scoot out of the Philippines, that's an empty building. If you're Mega World, you can handle that. But if it was me, I'm probably going to go bankrupt and die.
And it's a given the condition post-pandemic where everyone is actually encouraged to do hybrid work. So I don't think we see that much of movement in the office sector. But I think one of the most resilient would remain to be the residential segment. And sir, siguro po, it all depends on the kind of ROI that we're looking at, because we have to remember that we always would say that property is a very good hedge against inflation. Na yun po yung pwedeng maging issue natin when we go for the traditional type of investment. Bobby?
I was sitting in the back with some bankers and they were asking me, but Bobby, the flights are so expensive and it's limited and the hotels are so expensive. Ano nangyayari? And I told them, listen, when the airports open, like in Bulacan, the rule of thumb is every international tourist your country gets, you get one person out of poverty. Diba? We have 21 million people in poverty right now. We're 9 million international tourists. Thailand, Malaysia, these countries have 38, 40 million. So the goal of the government, our current government with the Secretary of Tourism, is to really bring it to 25, 30 million international tourists. So what will happen is more people will build hotels, everything will come, the infra will come. And so wait lang, 3 years, please. It will all happen. So invest now, and then 3 years from now, you'll see it.
Okay, I think we can entertain one more question from the audience before we close our Q&A session.
Hi, this is Raymar of Business Development. We have a question for the three of you. Anyone could answer. We saw in the presentation of Joey that the price have spiked up significantly, right? The price in BGC, Makati, Taguig, we saw the price have significantly increased. While in the presentation of Bobby, we saw the coming pipelines into the market. And also with Andoy, we saw different investment vehicles. So the question is, how do investors ensure they can get a good yield out of service apartments versus the other investments out there, investment vehicles out there rather?
Andoy, would you like to?
How do you ensure they get that the service residences would be the best investment vehicle? Tama? How do we ensure that the service residences?
It's more of how can they ensure they can get good yields out of a service apartment versus other investment vehicles. Now we see the TDs, time deposits, are competitive at this point. Bonds are competitive at this point. Now comparing this as an investment vehicle, how can we give some comfort of security for our investors?
Sige. Let's for context, let me talk about the inflation and the interest rate environment here in the Philippines first. No? For context, the cost of borrowing money, as highlighted by Joey, the cost of borrowing money right now, medyo steep eh. Hindi pa ito yung ideal na healthy levels, so to say. Joey was able to put it perfectly. Pre-pandemic, we were doing 4s, 4.5s. Right now, masaya ako if he's getting 7. Eh. Sometimes if you're going to ask for a shop around, you're going to get 8s, 9s. Eh.
Andoy, I actually spoke to some of those thrift banks.
That's right.
They're offering 12%.
I was about to say nga na
12%, right?
may mga nagdo-double digits pa. So again, what we're really trying to say here is it all boils down to understanding, again, sabi ko kanina, understanding yourself as an investor, understanding the investment universe, and factoring in what's happening to the economy. Kasi si Bobby said it perfectly as well. Guys, let's be patient. You have 3 years. You have 3 years until everything starts picking up. But since you guys here are fortunate enough to have heard those, bits of information from people who are actually in the market, what are you supposed to do with that type of information? You can always pass it on. You can always digest it. But at the end of the day, in order for you to make money out of those types of information, you actually get in the market right now. But again, from the capital markets perspective, hindi naman lahat ng investments kailangan mong talikuran because of the current market environment. No? If you are looking at a high interest rate, high inflation environment, what's going to give you a good night's sleep siguro right now would be, again, a mix of bonds, real estate investment trusts, kasi at least yun, alam yung you're from the sector. But once the BSP starts, chopping rates, dyan na natin mararamdaman yung economic recovery na sinasabi natin, because people, when the 7s get to the 6s, the 5s, the 4s, people will now be able to get more premium. They'll have more they'll be more encouraged to borrow money, start a business, get a unit from you guys, invest. And that's essentially in line with the 3-year horizon Bobby's talking about. So, ayun, parang it's really financial literacy combined with awareness of what the market is telling us and where the market is leading to. Ayun.
Can I add one thing, Raymart, for that great question? Is one, you have to look at the developer, who's the developer, and number 2, who are they partnered with as an operator? It's very important, the operator. For example, Ascot. They're partnered with Ascot. Ascot is from Singapore. They only know one thing, bottom line. They only know they want to do 60% GOP, 50% EBITDA. It's all about money for them. So it's really the partnership with the developer.
So, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned about EBITDA,
Yeah.
right, ROIs, because when I'm talking to the sovereign wealth funds, the Blackstones, these private equity firms, that's the type of conversation we're having, right? But when I'm talking to a farmer, a sari-sari store owner, a mother, I try to keep it simple. So you really don't need to overcomplicate investing. There's only two things I could tell you that you need to master and you're gonna be okay. One is economics, and in real estate, it's basic demand and supply functions. I showed you that there's a lot of condominiums. There's hotels, but not a lot, right? Maybe more than 70% less than hotels. But what about serviced apartments, right? There's only 10% supply. Diba? That's economics. And then know your math, right? It's really simple addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. The rates, that's why I told you, is really not a thing for me because even if I'm borrowing at 12%, but I'm buying this property 50% below market, I can tell you that 12% means nothing because I am going to cover my loan with the rent in that market. So it's just a number. So that's why don't overcomplicate it. Do the math. Know the economics, the forecasts. You're going to be fine. Otherwise, if you're thinking like your Blackstone or your sovereign wealth fund or some securities company, then yeah, you're probably not going to spend that money.
Just to add to that, I think another key point here is that you have to really study and research. In fact, investors now are quite lucky because there are a number of avenues where they can actually help get or gather data. Also, it's wise not to put your eggs in one basket. I mean, study the different investment options available right now in the market. And when you do decide to invest, make sure that you partner with someone who is trustworthy and can actually deliver what they promise. In fact, I must say that those developers who partner with a foreign entity is somehow already an assurance for many of us that they will do a good job because they're answerable to another international entity. So to wrap things up, I'd like to ask one final question to our three speakers. The first question is, what should investors, especially first-time investors, keep in mind when exploring service apartments as an investment option? And second, do you think now is a good time to invest in service residences? Joey?
I think in general, residential, right? And then serviced apartments as being a new asset class that hasn't been really paid attention to by the market. There's huge upside in really looking at the fundamentals of serviced apartments. So, first is you're buying on, like if it was pre-selling, ask yourself if that project will have capital value appreciation because it needs to be constructed, right? So believing in the developer, believing in the project is important that when you buy it at $250,000 today, is it going to be 300, 400, 500? That's capital value appreciation. And then second, when it's all said and done, how much income can you derive from it? Right? If you believe you're going to derive enough income to cover the cost of maintaining that unit, then you should go for it, right? Again, it all boils down to understanding what is a serviced residences or apartments, what is the pros and cons of it against a hotel or a condo, because there is no perfect real estate investment.
Okay. Hotel, 50 years ago, great, let's invest, hotel. 25 years ago, it was suites. Everybody was talking about suites and all that. Then it became condo hotel. There's a very famous Filipino here that went to Japan already. Is already investing in Portugal, in Spain, in Singapore. He'll be the first person to be listed in the stock market in New York. I don't want to mention the name. You know who I'm talking about. That's condo hotel. Service residence is better than all of the three that I just talked about. So that is now, 2024.
Thank you, Bobby. Andoy?
This one, no BS. No, I think if my memory serves me right, this is the 10th Ink Talks organized by Inquirer Property, and I've been to 9. I think 9 out of the 10 Ink Talks. Not all Ink Talks are created equal, because back then, the previous how many sessions, I always remind sellers and buyers alike, I always remind them that even before you make that decision, especially when you talk about real estate, even before you make that decision, dapat meron kang emergency fund, you need to be very, very liquid, may cash flow ka, and you need to be aware of what we call the phantom costs, no? The maintenance, upkeep, amilyar, whatnot, no? But serviced residences is a totally different animal, and that makes it a very good, a viable investment choice, because you no longer have to worry about those things. You don't need to worry about setting something aside, working extra hard for you to be able to afford, what we call phantom costs. And that makes it, again, a viable investment vehicle, because you make the most out of your money. So that being said, nothing beats yung remarks kanina from Bobby, no. The trend over the past several years, you pick the best features of those trends. Nothing compares to, not because we're in front of you, not because you guys are celebrating your 25th anniversary, but really, if you're going to compare mano a mano as an investment vehicle, serviced residences, you get the best of both worlds.
Thank you again, Bobby, Joey, and Andoy. For me, it's quite simple. Real estate investment will always be a favorite of mine. And I think yesterday is always the best time to invest. Not now, but yesterday. Because you see, it continues to appreciate in value. Interest rates will continue to go up. So if you have the resources and if you understand perfectly well, you've done due diligence, you've done your research, I think it's best to still make real estate a part of your investment portfolio. So again, I'd like to thank the three guys here for lending us their expertise. And we hope to see you in our future sessions. So, I hope you all learned a thing or two from our panelists and from their presentation. But before we officially end the program, I would like to call on stage the Chief Operations Officer of Torre Lorenzo Development Corp., Ms. Cathy Caceres ko, for some words. Thank you, Shanto.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Tech, and thank you to all our friends from Inquirer for partnering with us for today's Ink Talks. Thank you, Bobby, Andoy, and Joey for accepting our invitation. I think our sellers and our investors that are in the audience right now took a lot of notes. And we'll review their notes when they go home tonight, sana before the end of the day, so that they can decide already on what to invest from our properties just outside. Okay, so hearing the presentations of our speakers makes us very excited for what lies ahead for the hospitality industry. Now, from pioneering university residences, we have actually expanded into hospitality because of the optimistic outlook of the industry. 3 years na lang, di ba, Bobby? Okay, as highlighted by our speakers this morning. You know, a few years back when we were conceptualizing these service residences with our partners, we already saw that there will be a demand for these types of developments. And it proved to be true. During the pandemic, service residences actually thrived because of its format. It is also becoming a preferred accommodation type for more business and leisure travelers. So this is the perfect time, sabi nga ni Tech, no? yesterday pala, hindi today. So, yesterday is the perfect time to grab the opportunity to invest because of the bright outlook of the industry. I assure you that when you invest with us, with any of our Torre Lorenzo products, as Mr. Lorenzo said, we do not abandon our buildings, from construction to turnover to, operating our buildings. We aim to go beyond what you expect. Gusto namin every time you enter any of our properties, you will be amazed. Okay, so our investors will be happy, our residents will be happy. So, I invite everybody after this session to please visit our booths, our exhibits. We have a timeline wall that talks about our history. And I think we have some investors with us today. We have special 25th anniversary promos. Please approach your sales persons, sales managers, and ask them about this. Only for today, today only. So also I'd like to say thank you to our partner banks. I see the exhibits at the back. Please go visit. They offer financing for your homes. So we have Bank of Commerce with us, RCBC, BDO, and PNB. Thank you very much for supporting our event. And with that, I'd like to say again, thank you everybody for joining us today and enjoy the rest of the day.
So thank you again, Ms. Cathy Caceresco. Before we officially close the program, I'd like to take this opportunity to personally thank Mr. Tomas Lorenzo for giving us this opportunity to partner with them for their 25th anniversary, and of course, Ms. Cathy Caceresco, and to everyone involved, to everyone who attended. I hope you all make good decisions, and I hope you gain a lot of knowledge from today's discussion. Go ahead, invest, make the most out of your hard-earned back, and do not forget to consider real estate as part of your investment portfolio. Again, I am Samaniego, the Inquirer Property Editor of the Philippine Daily Inquirer, and have a good day, everyone. Thank you.